Michael Wilbon, he's always passionate, but perhaps the passion reaches a crescendo when the Bears are playing and we get text messages during Bears football. It's what I look forward to most. I wish we would get happier texts, not his doing, the Bears doing, of course. And Wilbon, I was teasing everyone that you were very upset about one thing in particular that happened twice. Can you share with the audience?
Oh, wait a minute. One thing happened twice. You mean during the game?
Yes. You're like Waddle. I have to remind you about everything.
Yeah, you got to give me I'm old and forgetful. What thing did I get?
It's a challenge. How about this, Mike? It's a challenge to remember every now and again.
Oh, yeah, they threw the challenge flag. Oh, my God. That was really bad. I mean, you don't let a player talk you into, it's like in the NBA, players start giving circling the finger and telling the coach, you got to look at it. And he hacked the guy across the forehead and drew blood. And he's saying, look at it, I didn't touch him. You don't let players talk you into stuff. And so the Bears lost the timeout in the second half because they had a really stupid challenge that anybody could see. And the guys in the broadcast were like, what are they doing? And whoever the referee is in the broadcast is basically like, yeah. Like, that's a particularly stupid challenge. You can see it. So anyway, that's not the biggest thing that happened in that game, of course. The inability to protect Caleb Williams is the biggest thing that happened in that game. It could be the biggest thing going forward if they don't get a lot better.
It was a really risky approach. And Sylvia and I have talked about this for months now. And it's not that, hey, I told you so, because we were discussing this going back to last year when it was Justin, a young quarterback trying to get acclimated. But now you use the first pick of the draft on a guy that you believe can change the arc of your entire franchise. And, Mike, you look at their offensive line construction and you just ask, have they put enough resources there?
No, but you can't do it all in 1 year. And so the question is, I know foundationally, the coaches that I've covered in my life put the line together first and then went for skill players. But they didn't ask that quarterback to play right away either. See, that's the thing. I just had a list. We just did something for SportsCenter. And there's the list which, guys, it's not just the kid at Carolina, Bryce Young, who's being benched now. It's Zach Wilson. It's the kid from who's the kid from North Dakota State who wound up being traded.
Carson Wentz?
Trey Lance?
No, not Carson
Trey
Wentz.
Lance.
Trey Lance. You just look at all these. Even the kid from Alabama who went to the Patriots, who we thought the Bears might draft for a while.
Mac Jones.
He's been traded already. Mac Jones. Everybody. Yeah. So you do get, sometimes you get a few people that can start and play right away. But even the ones who started and played right away and went to the Hall of Fame, I'm thinking of Troy Aikman and Peyton Manning. They were dreadful as rookies. Mm-hmm. Like, I was in a golf tournament not too long ago, and I was talking to Peyton Manning. He was talking to me about his rookie year and how hard it was. And remember, Troy Aikman was like 1-12 or something, right?
1-15 his rookie year, wasn't he?
Yeah, and so the team was 1-15. I don't think he.
Oh, that's right. He may not have played every game.
But look at the guys who were really good, and they sat. Ben Roethlisberger started I think he started all the games too. He went into a situation with a complete team and had a line. But so many times, Aaron Rodgers did not start right away. There were people who just didn't start right away. We had to sit. Jordan Love, if he's going to be good, he's at least had the benefit of having to sit a couple of years behind Aaron Rodgers. So I know there's the whole thing about the rookie contract. You could still have somebody under rookie contract while you put the rest of the team together and then you bring him in. But I don't want to really start second guessing how the Bears did this. I like what they've done. They gave him these weapons which you need. But the offensive line, particularly the interior, we just had Jeff Saturday on today.
Yeah.
I was begging Jeff to come back and play a few snaps.
Yeah, for sure.
Against his old team. And, they need serious help. And I always learned Joe. I got a chance to cover Joe Bugle, who might have been the greatest offensive line coach, one of the great line coaches in the history of the NFL. And he would say it's hard for a line to get better without changes. And you can't really make those changes until the offseason. So they can get better. Is it incrementally? Can they get a lot better? Saturday's thinking they can get a lot better. I hope he's right. But they got to get better or nothing's going to happen. I mean, that defense is playing so great through 2 games. Defense and special teams, despite the Velus Jones, if you take out the Velus Jones muff of the punt or kickoff or whatever that was, special teams has been lights out. They've been a 10. They've been an A+. And the defense has been close to that. They made a guy just kick the ball from 50, essentially. And he did it. But, I mean, he had to have a record-setting day with every field goal coming longer than 50 yards. You got 2/3 of your team is ready to rock and roll, but the offensive line is going to hold the offense back for sure.
I just think that the Bears could have done the line better. Like, whether you think they could have,
in addition to what they did, you mean?
Yes, because I believe what they did, Michael, was patchwork. I don't believe that they really grew.
It doesn't even look like patchwork. It doesn't even look like that.
Yeah, and like
it's crap work.
Yeah, exactly. And I just don't love a lot of the moves. I think it's been neglected over the last few years with the big time resources, and like they still had money in their pocket in free agency.
This is next year. Listen, they have to. The Bears have all their draft picks next year. I know they got a second rounder from Carolina too, right?
Sure, they have a boatload of picks. They have like 10, I think, next year.
Then 8 of them need to be used on offensive line.
Sure.
Problem is, Mike, by the time we get there, have we done significant damage to our rookie quarterback at that point? That's our concern.
Although I was around, I've been around to cover teams that put rookie linemen in the game when they were great rookies. Even Joe Jacoby was a free agent. He should be in the Hall of Fame. He was an undrafted free agent rookie left tackle. I guess it was right tackle. And, Russ Grimm stepped into the lineup. He's a Hall of Famer. He stepped in as a 3rd-round draft pick. So I think that you can get play out of those guys as rookies and second-year players. And by the way, then have some free agents. You can draft, seriously, maybe not 8, but you can use 4 or 5 picks on offensive linemen fairly high. You can also trade up if you need to, if you've got extra picks, and you can use your free agent money that's left available to sign 1 or 2. But that needs to get all of the attention going forward. Not to mention some improvement if you can get it. If you can improve them, again, I just asked Saturday this point blank. I just said, is it reasonable? Are there places that you can expect this line to get better this season? And Saturday said yes.
Well, there's no question that they can't be any worse, and B, the level of competition. Like, they're not going. And I know that people
they played maybe the best team in the AFC on Sunday night.
And the front that the Texans bring you that's a group of grown men, and the front you played in Week 1 against the Titans. Again, I'm not trying to. They need to get better. But it is going to get a little bit easier. I think the concern we have here is that we think that a lot of Ryan Poles and Ian Cunningham, but both of them are offensive linemen, former offensive linemen, and it feels like the evaluations that they have made of some of the players, whether it's giving money to Nate Davis or not finding the right fit at center or whatever it is they haven't found answers, maybe not the ultimate long-term answers, but they haven't had good answers for just making this. I would settle for a middle-of-the-pack offensive line.
Yeah,
like
right
15th, 16th, 17th. They are bottom 5, and that is not conducive to the growth and development of your quarterback.
No, you get your quarterback, hurt, discouraged, fundamentally beaten down is not a good thing. So that concern is being shared by everybody who's watching them.
I have not brought this up on the show at all today, so let's do this here and have a discussion over it. Last night's Monday Night Football game, the play that is being debated, or maybe plays, because they could go hand in hand on 3rd and 4th down, the Eagles' decision up 3 to throw the screen pass to Saquon Barkley, which was dropped, to try to put the game away, pick up the 1st down, and it's over. And he drops it. And then they elect, instead of going for it then on 4th and short, I think it was 4th and 3 maybe, they elect to kick the field goal to only go up 6, as opposed to trying again to pick up the first down and put the game away. What did you both think about the play call?
Let's say Tommy for last because he's the expert here. I didn't hate the play call. You're throwing the ball to Saquon Barkley, who's caught 140 passes in the last 3 years for the Giants. So I don't hate the play call. And by the way, he's open. The ball hits him in the hands. He's moving toward the end zone. I don't hate the play call. I'm not gonna. There's just nothing to really be critical about, except that there's a more certain thing that the Eagles do. One, I'm handing the ball to Saquon Barkley because if he gets 2 yards to the one, he still doesn't get in. I'm going to go for the brotherly shove on fourth down because we just saw that was not stopped in that game. The other time the Eagles couldn't get the ball in was when they threw it at the goal line. So why not run the ball with Saquon Barkley and go Barkley, eat 35 seconds, and then brotherly shove to get in and end the game? That seems to me to be much higher percentage than what they did, even though what they did, I'm not going to find fault with it.
So would you have gone for it after they did not pick it up? Would you have gone for it on fourth down?
I don't know because I wouldn't have gone for it that way. I would have run the ball on third down. And that way, at least, Silvy, I got the clock down to under a minute.
Sure. I know it makes sense. It makes sense. Like you said, you only have to pick up 2 of the 3 because you know that one's a gimme. They're 3 for 3,
yes.
And they always get it. But I had very little problem. I don't know what you thought, but I had very little problem. I was not I'm not bothered by it because, again, what is the offensive coordinator's job? The offensive coordinator's job is to run a play that is going to work. That play ran to perfection, and Saquon Barkley dropped a ball that he's got to catch. I heard a stat that he's dropped more balls as a running back as any other running back, but still, he's got to make that play there.
He does, but if you're using analytics the way that they are trying to employ, you wouldn't throw it to Barkley. You'd hand it to Barkley the way Mike said.
Yes.
Because he has led the NFL in drop passes from running backs. So it's not just that, but I mean, it's the clock implication.
Sure.
It's the biggest thing.
Yes, you're going to get 35 seconds or so.
Right. I believe at that time, they were out of timeouts, weren't they? The Falcons?
Yes. They were out of timeouts.
So the last thing that you can have is an incomplete pass, and he is the most likely running back in the NFL recently to drop a pass because that's what the analytics tell you. I'm with Mike. If I'm Nick Sirianni, and you can call it, outcome bias. I run the ball with Saquon Barkley. I let the clock go down, and then if I have to, I kick the field goal if I don't get any yardage. Or at that point, like Mike said, I could actually do the tush push from anything inside a yard. Now, the last thing you could do is stop the clock.
Waddle, you're the same guy, though, on this show for the last 2 weeks who's been saying about Shane Waldron that you have to blame players.
Yes.
Too often the crutch is to blame play callers. He designed a play that worked.
Yes.
You just went out and paid Saquon Barkley to get him away from the Giants all this money.
Yes.
He is a great football player who needs to make that catch. And by the way, not only Vic Fangio is the defensive coordinator who then they have to march down and score in 90 yards.
And by the way, they've been awful on defense.
Make a damn stop.
They had that.
Where's your argument for player execution in this regard?
It's absolutely there. I'm not pounding the table for it. I'm asking.
Hand it to them.
If you ask me,
call for that too.
Yeah, I mean, I would have preferred them handing the football to him because of the analytics. You make an excellent point. Like the player's got to make the catch. But the players also led the league in drop passes as a running back. So the coach then at that point has to factor that in. Again, I'm not ridiculously over the top about it. I would have factored in the time elements here and said, hey, let's run the football. Yep. Let's not take the chance with the clock. But I can understand, I'm not sitting here and telling you Nick Sirianni needs to be fired for the decision. At the end of the day, Saquon Barkley's got to make the play.
By the way, has Shane Waldron heard of the modern screen pass? Probably modern being invented in 1930. They probably threw it to Red Grange in the 20s.
They're struggling.
When you have an on-rushing line like that, the screen pass has been an antidote for 10 decades. I didn't see one. I don't mean that stupid flanker wide screen garbage that has worked once. or twice out of 12 plays.
Running back screen, right?
They ran it
running back screen.
Yeah, they ran at least 2. One was a nice one-handed catch from DeAndre Swift that I think gained 8, 10, or 12 yards. Another one was
do it again.
Well, early in the game, one got blown up. They are struggling so mightily right now to even execute the simplest of plays. Like there was another screen had they just Caleb was under duress, which is normally what happens on a screen, and he didn't deliver it in a good spot, and DeAndre Swift really didn't make a great effort for it. Had they been able to connect, it was a 10 or 15-yard gain.
Yeah.
They are struggling unbelievably so to execute even the basic plays right now.
And that's too bad because you execute that play, it also slows the pass rush. It has dual purpose.
Yeah.
One, you got an offensive play with plus yardage, and 2, you better have those, particularly your defensive ends, thinking about something else other than teeing off on Caleb. So, I don't know. The one thing I would say this, I felt pretty good about the way the Bears played Sunday night. Because I got Houston in the AFC title game. And I was saying that 3 weeks ago.
Now, you mean defense, right? Because without a running game and without protection.
Yeah, but
they're
just
just in the game.
They had last possession to win the game.
Right.
That's all I care about. Yes, of course, so you're right. It's 2/3. It's the same Bears we've always seen. My point is the team went to Houston and played the team I think is the second best team in the conference.
They're good.
They played them even. They played them even. The Bears had the ball down 6, and it wasn't a bad field position to start with. They had that sack. So I'm like, okay, let me just calm down a little bit and not get too riled up. And they're at Houston, and this is Caleb's second start. So it's like, all right, let's just see. Let me see what happens this week. I mean, they're playing a very desperate Colts team, very desperate team at 0-2. And, I don't know how that's going to work out either. But I just think, all right, let's see if this offensive line can incrementally get better. Can they give him any time to do anything down the field in week 3? Any time at all.
All right, so predict this, because Waddle and I talked about this yesterday. We talked about it a little bit earlier, that we could, and it's your positive thinking here, that we could think in a few weeks from now a lot better about this team. They're at Indy coming up. Here are the next 5 games. At Indy, it's a winnable game. Then at home against the Rams, who are very banged up.
Very banged up, yeah.
Then at home against the lowly Carolina Panthers.
Well, we're going to win that one.
Then they're in London against Jacksonville, who's struggling.
Very winnable.
And then they're in Washington against the Commanders.
Winnable.
How many of those 5 do they get on record right now?
3-2.
Ooh, that's minimum for me. Like, they have to get 3. And I would like 4-1.
I initially felt like
I would love 4-1 too, but listen, here's the thing: the intangible stuff they did so well against Sunday. I'm gonna go back to this now. You talk about toughness. You talk about adjustments defensively during that game. That they got better and better. They found their pass rush. They stayed with it. Like, one of my favorite things is just I learned from John Thompson when I was covering college basketball. And Georgetown would come back from these huge deficits. And one of his favorite things was he would look at this huddle and say, son, just keep playing. Just keep playing. And the Bears defense did that. I kept texting my brother and others who were panicking. I'm like, just calm down. Let's see where they are. And they kept playing. They kept after it. And when you have 2/3 of your team do that, maybe we have no reason to panic. I mean, the offensive line, yes, God knows it caved. God knows it's inadequate. But how many teams, like, of those 5 can take advantage of that? Maybe Houston was the only one, maybe.
I can talk myself into them beating the Colts. I thought when the season began, that was a game that I thought was going to be difficult for them.
I got that going to the Colts.
I do too, but because they're going to miss Buckner in the middle and maybe Latu on the edge, I can talk myself into it. I'm not sure that I'm coming off of this as a loss just yet.
It's going to be a long week next week if they lose.
Yeah, there's no question about it.
Silvy, listen, if they play with the same intensity that they played Sunday night against Indy, they'll win.
Okay, I hope so. And I
the
need
same game.
protect them better against the worst defense. Yeah.
Even as flawed as that game was, if they play the way they played against Houston, they're going to win.
I felt good about how the defense played, but I maybe I'm just on an island here. The Texans committed 12 penalties for like 150,000 yards.
But the Bears committed how many penalties?
They committed 9, but they weren't as penalty. Yeah, and they fumbled at the 2-yard line.
Yeah,
great play by Billings. I get it.
I don't consider that a fumble. I consider that a forced fumble. I mean, I consider that a defensive asset play. I'm not going to just say Houston screwed that up. I'm not going there on that one. That's just me. I just thought and Tommy, you had to practice against teams like this. The Bears hit so hard and they are so good in coverage that it forces the other teams to drop balls, to cut routes short, to do things that come up looking like offensive mistakes that are forced errors. And I think this defense needs to be given credit for that.
Absolutely. I'm not taking credit away from them, but like guys are getting tackled all game long, and they just happen to have a backup running back in there who fumbled on the 2-yard line. That's good defense. It's also very opportunistic as well as they were going in.
Yeah.
I mean, so you can't listen, maybe you can't count on that consistently because they are so good.
I need a 60-minute. Like, I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but the way they won the Titans game and then the way they looked on offense in week 2, I need a 60-minute game to cure my woes.
Listen, they won a whole season of games like that in 2003 or whatever with the Mike Brown Urlacher.
01, yeah.
Peanut, was that 01? That long ago?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They won like 9 out of 12 games. 9 out of 12 of the wins came like that.
Yes.
They went 13. They went 13-3. Maybe they were 12.
Yeah, that was a fun team. You're right. I think they were 13-3.
You can win. I don't want that to be the signature of the team, but I'm okay with it. Hell, I'm not going to turn them. I'm not going to turn those wins back if they're able to do that, because then you can buy some time. You can buy some time for your offense. Look, everything doesn't come together instantly. This is an instant oatmeal.
No, I agree with that.
They're going to have to. So they would never. This is why people get carried away. They were never going to put out a complete team this season. Now they have a chance to put one out there next season, because we're talking about, again, the acquisition of 3 or 4 or more linemen. And you can put those guys out there and get results. Listen, if you go out and you draft a young Trent Williams, or you wind up having a guy like that to anchor the line, you're gonna improve your line play. I just have my doubts if you've done this year with improvement. I think you have to go out and get new personnel.
I love it. I mean, you believe in the Bears.
I'm with you 100%, but you better not get this kid scrambled in the process.
Oh my God. Listen, if you had to put him on the shelf, if you had to put him in mothballs for a while and say somebody else is going to take this beating, designated, pinata, Caleb's not going to play every one of these snaps, I'd be okay with that. But just hey, listen, so what the Bears couldn't get out of Justin Fields, what I kept telling you guys, you see what his completion percentage is when he throws the ball in 2.5 seconds or less this year?
It was a much better game plan for him this last week against Denver.
100%. He's the only quarterback in the league with that. 100%.
He's also
got the
0 for 11
release in the league.
True, and like he plays the position in a way that makes you so optimistic about it. Right now, though, there are some holes in the entire offensive game, because he's 0 for 11 on passes that have traveled 15 yards or more. That's something they have to improve on.
Don't let him do it. You're 2-0. Keep going.
No, they're 1-1.
The Steelers lost their first game.
Oh, I thought you were talking about our guy.
No, he's talking about Justin.
He
was talking about Justin's.
I thought you were talking about
and on those passes that he's 100%
of his passes.
Yeah.
When he's gotten rid of the ball in 2.5, which he never did. He never did in the Bears uniform.
He's playing within his game, and Arthur Smith.
About our quarterback, not the Steelers quarterback.
No, the Steelers quarterback. And here's why he's doing that. He's being coached.
Arthur Smith has a better game plan.
Coached in Chicago.
No, and remember, they haven't had to beat teams who are scoring a lot of points. Let's see where this goes. But right
Well,
now,
maybe,
you got to
what?
give him
it's
his
gonna be hard
credit.
to score a lot of points against them. Maybe you don't
They're
score.
good. The defense is good.
They really are. Yeah.
He's doing what Eberflus says about complimentary football right now. You got to give
That's
him
right.
credit.
I like
All
that.
right. All right, Michael. Good stuff. Thank you.
Thanks,
All right,
Mike.
you guys, be good.
How about Michael? Very bullish on the Bears.